I was not expecting that at all.
Life happens.
Right.
And we're not in control. It's never about the addiction. It's about we have lost connection.
If I just have these great jobs, if I have all this money, then I'll be happy.
They're not living their lives how I think they should.
How may I serve? Or another way to say that is, what's up? I am so excited today as our special guest for Conscious Conversations. I have my beautiful niece, Heather Meyer, who is here with us. And for today's exploration, Heather, how may we serve? What kind of conscious conversation do you want to move into? And what would you like to explore in your life?
Well, there's always a lot going on in my life. Something that's been coming up a lot for me, though, is I want to explore living a more authentic life. So maybe that doesn't mean changing anything, but it means being more present and being accepting where I am. So,
got it. Living an authentic life is such a beautiful thing to explore because really we have the invitation to look at what does that mean in any given moment. You know, being authentic one moment, you can change what's authentic for you in a second. Like all of a sudden you need to shift your focus somewhere else. So why don't you go ahead, like, where in your life would you like to be more authentic? Like, you know, when we're talking about being conscious, it's really about being intimate with ourselves and with what's going on with our lives. It's very personal. Often we talk about how we want that special relationship and that person to connect with. And yet we can only truly have that connection that we have longed for, that we desire, through a really intimate connection with ourselves, being really honest and intimate with ourselves. So,
this really started for me this year because in March my sister passed away, and everyone deals with grief differently. But I remember right after that you told me that not only would her death mean, you know, seeing the truth in my own life, but then it became really apparent for me that I want to live a life that if I die tomorrow, I can feel good about it and not, not leave behind a mess. Not a mess, but you know what I mean, kind of. So through her death, it became an invitation for me to live the life I want to live. Now, also, I'm a mom of 2 beautiful boys and love it. But at the same time, freedom is limited. At least that's what it feels like.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because the reality is, having a 2-year-old and having a 6-week-old and being a single mom, your platter is full and then some, having a full-time job. So there are a lot of things that are pulling at you for your attention. Now, one thing I think it's really important to explore is before you had the children, when you were single, did you experience freedom?
Maybe in glimpses, but overall, I had some pretty serious patterns from childhood that I was stuck in. And I was working to get out of them, but at the same time, staying in them. So,
Are you open to exploring a little bit more? Because this is humanity.
Yeah.
You know, we think, okay, now as a kid, I just want to be an adult. I just want to be on my own, and I'm on my own, and
So true.
cricket, like we're trying to find our way,
Yeah.
and yet, oh wait, this isn't freedom, and we kind of want to backpedal and like, what is this? So can you talk a little bit more about what your experience, because it's the way for everyone. We're here to evolve in our humanity, and the evolution comes through contrast, and a lot of times that looks like us getting our asses kicked. And what we thought was true ends up not being true. So the more we explore what it is that's keeping us held in limitation, what's keeping us held in a place of pain and struggle, that gets us our freedom. That gets us the ability to transform and to be able to shift consciousness. So what was it for you that was keeping you stuck?
As a child, I was so focused on being the good girl for my parents that I didn't care about anything else. I mean, I didn't take care of my body. I was very overweight, looking for that instant gratification in the moment and going for that. And then I just suppressed, repressed, depressed. I was very depressed as a junior high student. And then when I was 25, I found out that, I decided I didn't want that anymore. I wanted to make a big change in my life. And I started by working out and eating right. And I lost 140 pounds in like 3 years. It was a big change for me. And in all of that, there's still the thought patterns of, you're not good enough. And so, even though I was able to come back from some of the patterning, I still feel like there's more I have to clear.
Absolutely, sweetheart, absolutely. And once again, like, not making any of this wrong, but how we find a way to transcend or shift our consciousness is to look at and to be able to see, oh look, I still feel and experience the story, I'm not good enough. And it's not true at any level. And simultaneously, there's recognizing the markers. So as a child, okay, how do I get my parents to approve of me? And then we move it into other relationships. How do I get this individual, this partner to, how do I get their approval? How do I get the approval at work, or we transfer it to a boss?
And right now, as a single mom, it's, I want my kids to approve of me.
Oh, boy.
And I want to be their parent. So, how's that for reality? I want both. I want them to see my value, but then I also want to be the one who's in charge and doing the right things by them. They're still little, but I want to love on them because I didn't always feel that as a child.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, the reality is, as a child, you deserve to be loved 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as did I. And I don't know of anybody on this planet who got that.
No,
or who
I'm
gets
sure.
that. Even your kids, even my kids, I'm pretty sure. And so a part of the path to humanity is really recognizing and deepening into the connection of loving ourselves and valuing ourselves. But when we look for the external validation, will you love me? Will you see my value? no matter what, it won't be enough. No matter how much. And not only that, will it not be enough. Even if I love on you, and I do love you, and you take it in ever so deeply, it's only temporary. Because if your thought about yourself isn't in agreement with my thought about you, then it's only temporary for you. So the only sustainable thing, or the only sustainable place is loving, valuing, and respecting ourselves. And it's not what we're taught. We're taught to look without instead of looking within. We're taught to give until it hurts and then give some more. And it's just such a painful place. And there is no authentic there. There's only disconnect and there's only separation.
Well, and through my sister, I kind of came to the realization that it can look like you're living in a life authentic for you, and you can still be disconnected. You know what I mean? It can look to other people, you're living authentically, you're being you, and that person can still feel disconnected.
Absolutely. And the reality is, once again, no one else can decide for us what authentic living means in any given moment. It's really the whole, once again, world peace is an inside job. And so what's going on inside of ourselves. And a lot of times people don't want to feel, you know.
Yes.
I remember as a child, my father wasn't open to feelings, like he could do anger, and you know, that one he was really head down. But really, if there was too much happy or too much anything, sadness, no, because he didn't want to touch his own feelings of sadness. And so the feeling was really painful for him. So he just wanted to shut that down because he hadn't done his own work. Mm-hmm. So for us, it's about really honoring what are the feelings there for ourselves. Good news, feelings aren't the truth of who we are. What a relief. But they are indicators as to what's going on or what's up to heal. Yeah. So one of the feelings that I hear you talking about that is a carryover from childhood is the I don't feel like I'm good enough.
Yes. Well, and I personally set very high expectations for myself. And so through setting those expectations, if I'm not meeting them or reaching them or exceeding them, you know, it goes back to, okay, then I'm not reaching my goals. Mm-hmm. And it's more future thinking than it is being present in the moment.
Got it. So, what do you want that you don't have now?
Do you want a list or no?
Sure.
No.
Why not? Because we get to be real, you know? Yeah. This isn't about you should want this and no, you're wrong for wanting that. It's not about judgment, but it's like, what do you want that you don't have now?
With the risk of sounding like Space Odyssey, I would say more time and more space. But it's never enough. So, you know, as much as I would love more time to myself or to do, you know, the things that I love to do, or the space to do it in, it's, you know, it's kind of a moot point.
Got it. So what's underneath the, no matter how much time I have to myself and no matter how much space I have, what is the feeling that takes you to disconnect or not being happy?
The feeling?
Or anger.
Anger.
Excellent. And why are you angry? First thing that comes to mind, if anything. Heather, why are you angry?
The first thing that comes to mind is I want to be angry at other people.
Okay.
But I know that's not...
Well, no, we don't have to be all spiritual and
Okay.
have it all figured out. Why are you angry at other people? How are they disappointing you? Why are you angry?
It seems like there is always pressure from other people.
Pressure to...
Be perfect in everything that you do. And there's even probably anger about wanting to be perfect and I can't all the time. You know?
Yeah.
And setting myself up to fail. But there's also anger that they're not living their lives how I think they should. Which I know comes back to me, and I'm not doing it either. So I can see the truth, but at the same time, it doesn't make it go away.
Got it. So really what I'm hearing you say is you want your life to be different than it is, and you want other people in your life to be different than they are, and then everything would be okay.
With a big bow on it.
Oh, I love the bow. Because it's got to look so
perfect,
good.
yes.
Yeah, absolutely. It has to look so good. So the whole thing about others disappoint me. Like if you were to personalize it.
Wait, you want an example?
No, not even an example. Instead of others disappoint me, just recognizing the personalization of it. I disappoint myself. So what are you going to do about it?
Stop it?
No. You've gone how many years doing this? What would cause? The only reason why you would consider stopping it is through shifting the consciousness around it. So right now, where is it inside of you? Is it mentally? Is it emotionally? Is it physically in your body? The feeling of, I'm not enough. There's a lot of judgments and criticisms across your frontal cortex. That's a lot of times where we store them. There's a tightening within the diaphragm, the power center.
See, that's one thing. Someone told me I was judgmental once. And when it comes to other people, I'm pretty open. But when it comes to myself, I'm very judgmental of myself. At least in my mind.
I get it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, though, we justify, like, oh, I'm abusive and judgmental to myself, and, like, that's holier than being abusive and judgmental to someone else. Abuse is abuse.
Yeah.
And can you recognize how hard on yourself you are, that that's a form of abuse? So this is getting deeper into the reality of we're not kind to ourselves. Like, it's not okay. And when we think about how we've disconnected from our own inner child, we recently, in a healing intensive I was facilitating, we were talking about calling the Department of Human Services to make reports that were being abusive to our inner child. And could they do anything about it? Could they intervene? But the healing intensives in themselves are the intervention.
You know, that's one thing about this work, energy work, and because I feel like I've connected with my inner child many times.
Yes.
And that, by now I have done my work, right? Because I've connected with her, I've seen her. But then the other day I did a meditation and started crying all over again because even though, you start something, it still sticks with you sometimes.
It's a journey, and it's a journey that really, unless we open up to making a commitment to really doing our work, and it took me 12 years up until the point that I lost my mind, like really shifting into a consciousness of just complete and total space. And it was very committed, very intense work. But people, like if we have a feeling every now and then, people consider that, oh yeah, I'm doing my work. And I'm not saying you haven't done your work, you certainly have. And there's more. How can we tell? How do you feel?
Yeah.
So when the feelings are coming up, and a lot of times just simply going into meditation can be a wonderful thing. Simultaneously, it doesn't necessarily shift the consciousness of the causal body. And that's what I really appreciate about this work. So recognize the core of the belief of, I'm not enough. And right now, I am going to invite you to feel it. And a client, in fact, many clients have said to me, but wait a minute, I felt not enough a lot. How do I get to the other side? I want to be done with this. Well, how we get done with it, per se, is to really allow ourselves to sink into it. To first of all identify, yes, this is how I feel. And then to bring compassion and understanding to it. And then to transcend the consciousness about it. But allowing yourself from the tips of your toes to the top of your head to really sink into the feeling of, I'm not enough. I'm not enough as a mom. I'm not enough as an employee. I'm not enough as a daughter. I'm not enough as a sister. I'm not enough as a mom. And just staying with those feelings and just really sinking into it. And feeling the disconnect and the unworthiness as we bring it fully into present time and allow yourself to be supported and allowing this consciousness of pain to be fully enveloped in love, in awareness, in the emptiness. And take a deep breath, keep breathing as you feel the story of I'm not enough. And look at the little girl, the inner child. How old is she?
8.
8 years old. And she's so hungry to be enough. And what does she want?
Braces. They were so cool in 2nd grade. Just to be loved.
Got it. And what would that take for you to love her right So stay there. Just love her and recognize that your mom and dad loved her as much as they possibly could, and simultaneously they had jobs, they were busy, and they had their hands full in a whole lot of different ways. And she wanted more. And so now you can give it to her. Just love her. Just love her. Recognize how hungry she is to be loved, valued, and respected. Just to be accepted as who she is, her exact weight, her exact talents, everything, just who she is. And recognize the feelings of sadness, the feelings of depression, and bring them all into present time. Not making her wrong, but just really loving her. Fully loving her. What does this 8-year-old need from you in your life today? Can I tell you what I heard when I asked the question?
Sure.
To be acknowledged.
Yeah, I was.
To authentically be acknowledged.
To be visible. Because I felt invisible.
Absolutely. So can you fully see the 8-year-old?
Yes. I can tell you exactly what she looks like.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, it was the 90s, so. Or late 80s, maybe. I can't do math. It was 90s. Big puffy bangs that were curled, glasses.
Big glasses.
Big plastic blue or pink, depending on the day, glasses. Almost always. Well, I remember one picture, long hair. One picture where I'm wearing this kind of jumper, and that's what I usually picture her in. And I had a really cool baby Heather doll. It had the same name as me. So even at 8 years old, I wanted to take care of other people.
Nurturing is, we don't have to make that wrong. Nurturing is a part of who we are, and when we do it authentically, the giving and the receiving are one in truth. And so it's a beautiful extension of who we are, being of service. But it's when we get out of balance that it's a problem. when we don't come from a place of open-heartedness that this is what I want, this is what my choice is. When we lose connection within ourselves, then it's a problem.
You know, I just kind of realized something. Growing up, I think I never really felt like I had a lot of control over my life. So I found that in Barbies. I could make them do exactly what I wanted them to do.
When I wanted them to do it.
Because I loved Barbies.
Excellent. Excellent.
No, but it's just, I never really thought about it that way until now.
Absolutely. And how might that thought be really painful when you apply that to life? Just saying.
Yeah. Just, I think most kids probably just don't, I mean, I always just wanted to make other people in my life happy. I never really felt like I had control over how they felt about me, but I always just wanted to make them happy anyway, even if it didn't work, and then start over again.
So, how were you at making other people happy?
You know, I had my moments where I felt like I did. Truthfully, it was up to them.
You know, I love this part of the conversation. In my household, growing up, it was, I really came into this world with the thought and belief that it was my job to make other people happy. And let's be clear, I sucked at it. Oh my God, did I suck deeply. You know, Dad was angry and rageful, and Mom, it was so shut down that it was her job to try and control everyone else in the household, the kids. We needed to walk on eggshells to not make Dad upset. And it was a very painful environment. And so we wanted to control how Dad felt. Okay, let's change our actions. And it was the greatest lesson in disconnect that one could possibly have or experience. And I'm not even making my experience wrong, because it's a part of my path or my education in being able to live more authentically and live my life, and being able to see that I didn't value myself. I wasn't taught that. I wasn't aware that my feelings mattered and that I needed to check in with myself. What is authentic to me? How does doing this in my life feel to me? None of that was even a consideration. And so the more and more I did my work, the more space that was created for me. Because some of the beliefs that I held that were in my subconscious and unconscious that I wasn't even aware of, I was able to really see clearly, like your current awareness. Oh my goodness, I want to control my life, and you know, I wanted the other people in it to be able to do what I wanted to do, and I want to make other people feel good, and what if they don't? Like, can we accept that? Can you accept other people not being okay, happy? Can you accept other people not feeling good? What if your 2-year-old son doesn't feel good? What if he's just in a really bad mood? He wants what he wants, and it's not what he has. Can you accept that? As a mom, can you accept that?
And
Your
well,
psyche said no.
of course. But my he's wanting something, is, you know, it's not something he should have, if it's not safe for him, if he's throwing a tantrum about it, it's like I know the kind of procedural things. Like if he's throwing a tantrum, you walk away, you don't give him attention then. You give him attention when he's doing something good and you say, yay, you did something great. You know, so I
Right.
know the parenting things you're supposed to do.
Right.
There's a lot of quotes right there because it's so true. I mean, like, there are certain expectations of being a parent.
Okay, but cut all the rules. Are you okay? Like, check in emotionally. Are you okay?
Of course I want my kids to have everything that they need. Yeah.
Okay, but are you okay if your kid who has everything he needs isn't happy? Are you okay if your kid isn't happy?
I'm okay, but I take responsibility for him not being happy. I do. I know I do that.
Okay.
Like, it's my job to make him happy. Like, we're back to that.
Okay, all right. So you're not enough because sometimes other people aren't happy. Like, are you okay if your parents aren't happy?
No. Does this mean I should say more?
Yes. Oh, that's a great idea. Yes, please.
I want to be okay with it if they're not happy.
No, you don't. Acknowledge the part where you don't. What is wrong if somebody's unhappy? Because this is the core of a belief that you have that is kicking your hiney end.
My belief is if they're not happy, I did something wrong.
Okay, so from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, feel the I did something wrong. Because my life's not supposed to look like it does, is the belief I did something wrong. Can you see that? Just feel into it. I did something wrong. Because then others would love me more. Others wouldn't have made the choices that they've made. I'm not enough.
Well, and thinking about it, I'm like, who am I to think that I have that much power that if I did do something wrong, why would it affect someone else?
It's incredibly egotistical on your part.
It is.
Let's be clear.
It's like my head is huge.
It's like you can control how I feel. And let's be clear, you've been taught to believe, whether it's within our society, within our parents, just in general, we've been taught, oh, be a good girl, and if I'm not happy, it's your fault.
Yeah.
We're not in a society where we are even introduced to personal responsibility for our own happiness, for what's authentic for us, for living our lives.
Explain why I've been so angry lately.
Wow, say more about that.
Well, I want to put it on other people, my anger. I do. Like, I don't want it to be me, and I know it is. What to say.
Why have you been angry?
Because I want to control everything. and my lack of actual control that I will probably never have, it makes me angry. And I want to say, no, you're doing it wrong. And it's not even for me to say that.
So now personalize the belief instead of you're doing it wrong.
I'm doing it wrong.
Your feeling of I'm doing it wrong. Does that resonate with you at all? That you're doing?
Well, having two little kids, I mean, yeah, there's the possibility I could be screwing them up big time. But I love them every day, and they know that.
And do you love yourself every day?
I'm working on it.
Yeah. And go to that 8-year-old girl. Does she feel loved every day? Ask her. Does she feel seen? Does she feel like she matters?
There is one, I remember overhearing my grandma say this because she used to watch us when we were little, but she had called me the silent crier because I had another cousin who was very, like, when they were mad, you knew it. You know, like the whole house knew it, or upset or whatever, but I would just go off into a corner and be by myself and cry. I didn't want people to see that. And here I am doing it.
Unconscious conversation. I'm getting real. It's getting real here. This wasn't planned.
It really wasn't. I was not going to cry when I came here.
No. And it looks beautiful because it's honest, it's real, and it's authentic, and it's so beautiful. So what does that little girl need from you every day?
She needs to be able to go into the middle of a room and throw a tantrum if she wants.
Right on! Yes!
And be loved because of that.
Okay, but what if the people around her say, wait a minute, and throw up the walls and shame the little girl because she's throwing a fit, because she's having a voice, because she's asking for something that the people in her life don't want to give her because they're too busy with their own stuff? What if they, the people in this little girl's life, it's not okay, and they're not willing to love, value, and respect her if she isn't acting like what they define as a good girl. They're not doing what other people think she should be doing. Then what? She wants to be loved, and she can be, but by who? Who do you think could love her? Oh my God! That is a great idea!
Right here.
Right here.
Bring it home.
Bring it home! Oh my God! Home sweet home! That is such a good idea! I love it. So here we are. What if the rest of the people in the room? What if the 2-year-old still wants what he wants and isn't willing to love you, value you, or respect you because he's so upset that he wants what he wants and he doesn't have it? Can you love you?
do love me. I do love me. And I think in those moments,
Yeah.
it will be a challenge, but I can do it. I just need to remember how amazing a person I am.
Wow. And allow yourself to feel that from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And even loving this 8-year-old girl. What does she want in life? What does she want in need from you every day?
Well, she wants to have a voice. And she wants to be loved no matter what.
Absolutely. There's a line from a poem from Orion Mountain Dreamer, and the line that I so deeply love is, "Are you willing to disappoint another to be true to your own soul?" And I love that line. It makes me so happy because in my life, in my own healing journey, man, have I disappointed others. Yes! Yes! And it's not like that's my desire or my goal, but the goal is to live authentically. And sometimes people want me to be or do things that aren't authentic to my being. And when I've truly made a commitment that my life and my dedication is to live an authentic life, that's what I'm giving the world. That's what I'm giving myself. That is my true gift to the world. And others may not like the way that it looks. Others may be disappointed. Others may be elated and so grateful. But how anyone feels about it doesn't matter. Like, none of it matters. Not in truth.
So basically what you're telling me is I need to be okay with disappointing people.
Yep. And
But
you're more okay with it than you were.
I am.
Like,
I'm even thinking about some ways I could disappoint a few people.
It's like you're a little over 40% now okay with disappointing other people.
I'm thinking, all right, I can do that in a few situations coming up. I kind of feel like I just want to disappoint people.
Got it. Got it. And so sink into that even more, Heather, and connect with the fear of disappointing people. Like, ooh.
Well, there's always backlash.
Well, but it doesn't matter if you're good with it. You know what I mean? If you don't have an expectation, if your goal is to please someone else, sometimes I want to do things that I don't really want to do, but somebody else who wants it, oh my God, they want it so much that authentically I want them to have it. So I'll do that. Mm-hmm. But it's authentic because I want them to have it. But it's not about making the other person wrong for having the want or wanting you to be or do that role. Of course you want me to be in your life. I'm amazing. Mm-hmm. Of course you'd want me to do that. Thanks for asking. No. Not even a little.
Not happening.
Telling the truth faster.
No, that makes sense.
But before we can tell the truth faster, it really requires getting authentic within ourselves and our own lives.
Today, this morning, and probably some of yesterday, I was thinking to myself, if I die tomorrow, what am I leaving, and how could I live each day until that day in a way that's true to me,
Wow.
and I want that. I want to feel like every day I'm living for that day.
Wow.
I probably don't always do the right thing in everyone else's eyes, because sometimes I don't do the right thing for myself and take care of myself the way that I need to be taken care of. But
That comes into the, are you willing to disappoint another to be true to your own soul?
and I don't know. Lately I've just been thinking about how fragile life really is. And part of that is to do with my sister, because she died at such a young age.
23 is a really young age, sweetheart. It is.
And then it makes me think, not that I'm going to die tomorrow, hopefully, but it just made me think about life, and are you really living it? Are you really living it? Are you really loving it? Are you really there? Are you present in your own life? And sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes it's yes. But I want more yes moments.
Absolutely. Being authentic does mean being really present with ourselves and with our lives, and the telling the truth faster. And a part of that is embracing all of it, embracing the darkness, even when it's not pretty. Just really saying yes to whatever it is. And that's not in alignment with, the TV show depicting how everything gets wrapped up and everybody has a smile on their face at the end of a half-hour sitcom. There's more of a push to be the I have happy instead of really authentically allowing ourselves to honor ourselves. One thing I found out through the death of my daughter Amy when she was 9 days old was her death, as you talked about your sister Lauren, is an invitation for me to live my life more fully and to be more authentic in every area of my life. But no one else can decide what that is for me. So other people can want me to be somewhere else or want me to do or to not do something. But when we're living authentically, we can only make those choices if we're in awareness and connected. And so that might mean being connected with the 8-year-old on a given day because she's kind of showing up and she has a case of the feels. She's sad. And maybe she just wants to, have a blankie pulled up over her head and have a snuggle session with her kids, whatever. Like, it's how can you live authentically? With all of it. Not making it like some Barbie story.
And not feel guilty for doing it. Not feel guilty for taking time for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The other day I just wanted to go snuggle. And it wasn't, I felt guilty for giving myself time to do that. Because I should be doing this, or I should be cleaning this, or picking this up, or, and even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, if I'm not doing for others, I feel guilty.
So where's the guilt stored in your body?
In my feet.
Could be.
Probably.
Where is the guilt stored? Where do you feel it?
Here, probably
Got it.
the most.
Got it. And so right now, just focus on feeling the guilt as we bring more and more of it into present time.
I must have been raised not to be a selfish person. And yet, sometimes it's good to be selfish. People give it such a negative spin that, you're like, oh, I don't want to be seen as selfish.
Selfish is the same as the term nafsha in Aramaic as Jesus spoke it. And the translation of the word self in its origin meant a trinity. It meant God, it meant you, it meant I. And so it was the three of us, God, you, and I. And so being selfish meant taking care of all of those areas of your life, taking care of your connection to God or love. It meant being kind to others, but it also meant being kind to yourself. And if you're out of balance with any of those, then you aren't experiencing an authentic life.
The trifecta.
Exactly. So just feeling the guilt and just bringing more and more of it into present time. And recognize, just really be aware of your relationship to guilt. Not making it wrong, but just really acknowledging, I have felt guilty. I felt like it's not okay. And look at that belief and look at that feeling and just sink into it even more. And there's also a lot of judgments and criticisms that are energetically lit up across your frontal cortex or forehead. Like, no, guilt needs to be there. So what's your story of guilt? Why is guilt important?
That's important.
What's the story or belief? I need to feel guilty because...
Well, as I'm thinking about that, when I think of guilt, the first thing that comes in my mind are specific situations where other people want to do something nice for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like my mom will, buy something or give something, or and then I'm a stingy receiver. I always tell her, no, you don't have to do that, and it makes me feel guilty receiving from others. But what's my story about that is I need guilt so that I continue to try to make other people happy without making myself happy. Right?
Yes, absolutely. That's spot on.
Because if I didn't feel guilty, then I wouldn't feel like I had to do those things.
Right.
I would just be.
You might even be happy.
What?
Oh, wait a minute. This is getting out of hand.
Now I'm uncomfortable. No.
Excellent. Do you see how there's more life in your being, in your presence right now?
Yeah.
So being guilty and like the feeling of guilt, in awareness, we can really see what is my relationship to life and look at the identity of guilt. Like, guilt has been a really big portion about how you run and how you experience life.
Yeah.
And another way to say that is painful.
So
Like,
much.
ouch, ouch. And there's been a comfort with it. Like, yeah, I feel guilty.
In a way, you can twist it in your head and say, well, if I feel guilty, I'm a good person. Right?
That's exactly what you've done.
Yeah. If I feel guilty, that means that I have a conscience and I'm a good person because I care about them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not important, and I'm not enough, and I don't matter. Okay? All of those things that you have just identified are not in alignment with living authentically, I guarantee you. It's an authentic living stopper.
Yeah. Okay, point made.
But it's so important to recognize, like, when do we take the time to stop and to look at our lives in truth? What is my belief? Now, this is intimacy. This is looking at the base and the foundation of how you walk through each day and live your life, and the identity of, oh, I need to feel guilty about doing this for myself. No, you don't. Not in truth.
I feel like we just gave me permission to not be guilty, which is like, woo! Like,
Authentic living, like, welcome to it. It looks so good on you, too. Absolutely.
I want to start doing some things differently.
And you can. Awareness, though, the consciousness, is such an essential piece. We can't make new decisions, and they won't stick unless we really bring awareness and consciousness into it. That's why I love this work. It's so life-altering.
Yeah.
What is the core? What is the causal body? And how do we shift to seeing our lives in truth? Excellent. So how do you feel now?
More honest with myself. I was never really, like, I've never really looked at guilt that way before. So that's kind of an aha for me.
Mm-hmm.
A big takeaway is it's one of the main things in my life holding me back.
It's everywhere. It's what we're taught.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a mainstream. Because really, without guilt, we can't control other people. And so a lot of times within religion is based on guilt. You are wrong, and that way I can control you. In relationships, you're not enough. You're subpar. And within that guilt, you can be controlled. And so being able to see the honesty and how it keeps us from living authentically is really, really important. And the other piece I love that came out for you is the possibility of letting others be unhappy and still giving yourself permission to be happy.
Well, you know how the expression, like, toot your own horn?
Yeah.
I'm going somewhere with this.
Yeah.
Throughout my life, I've never really felt free to be able to do that. You know what I mean? Like, I never wanted to tell everyone how amazing I am. it's,
Why?
yeah.
Because
But-
let's be clear, you're amazing.
Well, thank you. No, but I've never really felt like that was okay. And so remove the guilt, remove the wanting to make everyone else happy, remove and put into perspective what's going to make me happy. I want people to know that I'm a great person.
in what you're creating. And not only can you tell us, but you show us when you show up authentically and don't have fears about trying to control what I'm thinking, seeing, or feeling. And why are you sad?
Before now, I never really thought about that. I've been taught from many different sources, self-deprecation, and it's good to feel bad about yourself because then you have something to work towards, or whatever.
Oh, definitely need to work harder.
I need to work harder and be more and do better or whatever.
Absolutely.
Stories.
Absolutely. So what's the new way, Heather?
It's okay to just be amazing.
Now that is a conscious conversation.
Yes. Thank you.
You are so welcome.